What's going on, GW Faction? My name is Josh Williamson. So I decided to take my best chocolate chip cookies ever video. Go back and check that out if you want to. And I decided to modify it a bit for this little video recipe. For this little video recipe, I'm going to show you how to make brown butter chocolate chip cookies. This is my favorite recipe for it. It's just a recipe that I used in the past, but I modified a little bit. Instead of using regular butter, I make brown butter. It's very easy to make. It's a bit time consuming, but in the end, it's worth it. These taste amazing. Some of you may like this a little bit more than the other one. So let's get started. So to start off, in this saucepan over medium heat, I have 1 cup of butter, and I'm gonna let it melt down and start bubbling. Once it starts bubbling like this, I like to add 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of non-fat dry milk powder and whisk that in. You want to keep whisking it constantly until the butter turns a toasty brown color. I'll show you what it looks like when I get there. This right here is what the color should be. Now I'm going to pour it all into a bowl. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour or until it's completely solidified and cold. This is what the brown butter will look like after it's done refrigerating. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to cut it into tiny little cubes. And remember, we want to keep this cold, so after I cut this up into little cubes, I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator and keep it cold. For this variation of the recipe, instead of, using regular chocolate chips, I decided to chop a bunch of semi-sweet baking chocolate bars into chunks until I had about 4 cups of them. Alright, so next in this big bowl, I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of cake flour, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Then I'm just going to whisk those together. Alright, now I've got my cold cubed brown butter in the stand mixer. To that, I'm going to add 1 cup of dark brown sugar and 1/2 cup of white sugar. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix those together, cream them together until they're well combined and they're nice and creamy. It's going to take a while because the brown butter is so cold, but it'll get there. So that's as smooth as the butter and sugar mixture is going to get right now, but that's totally fine. Anyways, what you want to do now is add 2 cold eggs and about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and mix those in. After that's done, what you want to do now is add that flour mixture that you made before, mix it in, and finally add all those chocolate chunks that you chopped up before, and mix them in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refrigerate the dough. I covered it in plastic wrap. I'm going to refrigerate it for at least 15 minutes. What that does is that it just makes the dough easier to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to shape my dough into balls. I'm actually weighing them out. You don't have to, but I'm kind of finicky about how even my cookies are in size, so I'm weighing them. I'm going to weigh these into 4.5 ounce balls. Then I'm just going to simply roll it up, and look at all the chocolate in there. That looks awesome, doesn't it? I'm going to press it out into like a thicker hockey puck shape, and I'm going to put it onto my baking tray lined with parchment paper. Then I'm going to put them in the oven at 410 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't remember what that is in Celsius, I apologize, but I'm going to put them in for about 8 to 11 minutes. Alright, and this is what the cookies will look like when they come out of the oven. Now what you want to do is let them sit on the pan for at least 10 minutes before you start eating them, because they'll fall apart if you try to right now. But then you want to repeat the exact same process with the rest of the dough you have, and I'll come back and I'll show these off for presentation. Alright, our brown butter chocolate chip cookies are done. Like I said, very easy to make. They are a bit time consuming, but in the end it's worth it. These taste amazing. If you guys have been on my recent stream, you'll know that I've gotten up a bunch of times just to continue making these. And I actually ate one on camera, and my gosh, are they good. Let me break this in half just so you can see the gooey, melty chocolate inside. Do you see that? These cookies are so freaking good. I take back what I said about my best ever chocolate chip cookie recipe. These have to be the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had in my life. These are so good. But if you try these, leave me in the comment section down below and tell me what you thought, whether you liked it or you hated it. If it likes you, thumb up, hates you, thumb it down, and be sure to subscribe and become a member of the GW Faction on a journey to 10,000 subscribers. God loves you. See you later.